Hello, my biddies. How are you today? I'm good. I have nothing to report. Nothing to report. Yes, it was boring. It was boring. I did take a walk. How boring it was. I took a walk. Um, Hope you're all well. Doing good. I'm well, doing good. Woke up so hungry. I didn't eat a lot yesterday. I woke up, I felt like my stomach was gnawing itself. It was bad. Don't usually wake up like that. Coffee helped. I don't know why TikTok is sending me that right now. So anything else? Anything exciting happening? No? I'm not even talk about politics today. It's just ridiculous. No, I talk about Bucky's. Not going there. I was really looking forward to going there, just as an experience once. Not gonna happen now. Not gonna do it unless I have to. Unless I'm forced into it. Which could happen, but not likely. I'll stick with Sheets. We're getting a Sheets near us, so at some point they haven't even tore down the old buildings yet, so I don't know what they could have bought the land across kitty corner across where they're planning on building, but I don't know why they didn't do that. Why they bought two buildings and a whatever. I don't know why they did that. It was dumb. It was really dumb. Oh, what else going on? Anything? Anybody got anything? All right, I guess we'll get into it. I know I'm a little late today. I was reading Reddit threads that I might eventually do a TikTok live or something like that. My son says, my daughter says we should have a Discord. My son says we should have, I should have a Twitch account. I don't know. I'm not that well versed in stuff, so I don't know. I know it's possible, but I don't know how to do it. I'm too lazy to look it up. Maybe I'll do that next week. Maybe I won't. I don't know. First up this month, we have Mildly Infuriating. It's entitled, My Wife Said That the House is in Shambles and She'll Be Cleaning All Day. This is what her house looks like in shambles. So I think it's an expectation versus reality. What do you think a house in shambles should look like? Do you think it should look like this? So that does not look like a shambles to me. That's a little kid's bedroom, and that is like the least messy kid's bedroom I've ever seen in my life. That's ridiculous. Another kid's bedroom, I assume. Does a kid even live there? Wow. Oh my goodness. There's a laundry basket in the room. Heaven forbid. You don't want to see my house if this is shambles. There's one blanket out of place, maybe a little bit. Everything else, your wife needs help. Yeah, my office desk does not look like that at all. Right now, they have nothing on there that is not computer related that I can see. I have my flags, my lotion, my clapper. This thing that I got to give back to the kids because it makes a kind of noise. My little chapstick in case. My drink, always, and a coaster. I have this little guy. Thank you, Dory. I have my apple that I got from work. I don't remember who gave me that. I have a plate because I was eating while I was setting up. I have an old candle container. Has nothing in it. It's empty. I have a giant washcloth, just in case, you never know. I have a videotape. I have a switch. Old switch, I don't even think it works anymore. It doesn't hold a battery charge, that's for sure. Speakers. What's back there? Oh, a pad of paper. Some cords and such. Lots and lots of cords back there. I need to, like, yeah. And I mean, you see my stuff behind me on the dressers. So yeah, mine does not look like that. My house does not look like that at all. Nothing seems like it there that doesn't belong there. Maybe the laptop? I don't know. Oh my goodness, that puts my kitchen to shame. Especially right now, I got everything out of that closet. Yeah, no, she can come over and clean my house if she really wants to clean. She's more than welcome. Come clean my house. More than welcome. My husband would love it, I bet. Top right comment is from Silly Goose, and she says, "This was cleaner than my house when me and my family just moved in." Right? Shiz says, "I was gonna say my apartment wasn't that clean when I moved into it." Apprehensive Pie is a second top right comment. She says, is someone stressful coming to visit?" And OP says, "No, this is our constant state of existence, Zillow ready. We still have a stressful weekend as parents, though." Well, you're making the stressful weekend as parents if that's how you're keeping your house, because no kid should have to live like that. Alt account says, "You have kids and your house looks like that." Uh, Kawhi the King says, "Dude, the woman needs some anxiety meds if she's keeping the house that clean with any number of kids. It's freaking impossible with a 2-year-old right now. I don't know how Opie's wife keeps it up. She has a lot of stress, I guarantee you. She needs some help because that's not normal." Rico Cairo says, "Yeah, but there's a ridiculous amount of dirt in the yard that needs vacuuming." Maybe she should go, rake the forest on her free time. Or she can come over and clean my house. I'd be happy to have her. Next, we have Petty Revenge, and his entire teammates were annoying, so I made them the best brownies of their life. A few years ago, I was grouped with a couple of teammates on a group project. From the get-go, we were not clicking well. They were the type of people I can only describe as vegetarian idealists. I don't mind that type of person generally, but it got to the point where the entire project took a decidedly preachy tone and there was hardly any room for a different approach. They were constantly throwing little comments my way that made it clear that they thought they were better than me. Like, I could never be okay with having a ham sandwich. I could. Give me. I have not. I have eaten, I promise. And well, you should have cycled today instead of coming with your car. Came to a head. Why is that for you to decide? This came to a head when they decided they wanted to go visit several farmers to talk about sustainable agriculture. Something I felt was unnecessary and complicated research for the sake of basically going on a field trip. This would also have taken multiple days out of our already packed schedule. So I refused to go. I told them I was fine with them going, but that I felt I was already more than pulling my weight on the project. I explained that I did not feel like spending time on something that ultimately would not contribute to the project. To their credit, they were very understanding. They left the next week and spent in total spent 3 full days of our final week on this. Because I stayed home, I got stuck with finishing the actual research while their excursions ultimately became a little more than a footnote in the final report. This did not sit right with me, but since it was the end inside, I did not feel like making a big deal out of it, so I let it go, mostly. As we were finishing up the project, I decided to do a potluck and each bring something we made at home. Well, this is where my plans started to hatch. I have a killer brownie recipe. They're incredibly moist and very flavorful, and I just honestly have just been disappointed in any other brownie since. So come the potluck, I brought the full tray of brownies, and of course they loved it. Everyone came for seconds, and the entire thing was empty before the end of the day. Then came the inquiries, the recipe. Oh my God, these are so good. Please send me the recipe. No way, I need this recipe. Of course, I promised I would send it later, but never planned on doing that. I kept coming up with excuses like, oh, I forgot, definitely send it tonight. Eventually, we finished the project, got good grades, and went on our separate ways. But even years later, I occasionally got a message from the group asking for the recipe. I ignored them all. I felt satisfied they probably will never have a brownie that was better than mine, which I feel like is a fitting punishment for a minor annoyance. I want the recipe. I don't want the recipe. If people are coming at you years later asking for a recipe, I want the recipe. Michelle Nomadic says, weird. I just got a notification that someone broke into a kid broke into his parents' house and hid in the basement. Crime radar. Michelle Nomadic said, I thought this was going to be in a completely different way. I thought that you put something in the brownies they wouldn't normally eat or something along those lines. So did I. She's not, she's insane or not, says, I thought the same thing. Instead, we got petty, wholesome, family friendly revenge. Yeah. Second top rated comment is from Delmar. And they say, why on earth have you not given them a false recipe and driven them even more crazy? Golden opportunity just laying on the floor. Yep, just laying on the cutting room floor, man. Jen says, yes, or say it's a Betty Crocker mix, but use orange juice instead of oil or something crazy. Somebody said something about using coffee in the Ghirardelli mix. That would be good, though. Coffee brings out chocolate flavors. Senior Dimension answers, coffee would work great, just flavored water and coffee plus chocolate is amazing. My initial reaction to orange juice did not work at all. It would be terrible. But after remembering orange flavored chocolate is a thing, I'm not sure. I would have to test this out to be honest. Puzzlehead Link says, I've done Betty Crocker brownie mix and added canned cherries and added the cherry syrup water instead of water. The cherry syrup instead of water. You didn't need water twice that. Makes a bit of a Black Forest-esque without being overpowering. That sounds good. Warner Juggernaut says, was it the Ghirardelli mix from Costco made with coffee instead of water? Fresh Out Patient says, this is my secret as well. French pressed coffee instead of water, and I add a dash of salt on almond extract. Everyone fights for them. People take two, so they have one later. Somebody else says that they do milk instead of water with a dash of soy sauce. Soy sauce is also a good addition to stuff. Somebody else says they use soy sauce or Worcestershire sauce. Worcestershire contains anchovies, so watch out for fish allergies. There's a box of Ghirardelli brownie mix and some leftover coffee in my kitchen right now. Guess what I'm doing for the next few minutes? That was from Too Complex. Next is Am I Overreacting? And it is entitled, I found between him and his worker AIO. I can't read this. Hey, guess who this is, God? That would be cool. No, that would be cool, though. I got your note. I'm really glad you texted. I wasn't sure if you would, so what do you think? Well, I was flattered, but I do have a girlfriend. I'm not surprised a guy like you would, and I can respect that. Nothing to lose to confess. I think you're pretty and very cool, so there's that. Don't do this to me, Nick. I'm just kidding. Thank you. I don't think I was good at hiding my crush. So Nick is the guy. And he says, I could kind of tell. And she says, no, is it in your head? I'm very slick. He says, most girls make it super difficult. Blah, blah, blah. Can't read that one. And that one's even worse. She needs to take better pictures or learn how to screenshot or something. maybe we could do whatever you want, but have fun, but that's only a maybe. And he says, whatever I wanted. She says, yes. He says, maybe. She says, you're killing me. He says, now you're killing me. Maybe she would hang out. He says he'll have to think about it. Because I have to go to bed. I have to get up at 4. She says, that's fair. I didn't expect to get this far. Do I get a birthday present? And he never answers her that I can, or at least it's not on there. I don't have the proof of actually doing anything. It doesn't sound like they did. He had said that there was a cute cashier at work, but he wasn't into her. I asked to see their text, and he said there was nothing. He showed me a message thread with her last text only, because he deleted everything else, and it was in his recently deleted. So I opened up in front of him, and he tried to stop me. I just read all of it, and now he thinks I'm going to leave him. He's talked this way about other girls at work, so who knows if he's done anything with them. My heart hurts so bad. Is this cheating? It's flirting. I don't know that it's cheating. If I overreacted by being so hurt, I would never do this to him. He claims it's because he wanted to be nice and not reject her in a rude way. I'm thinking about leaving, but just the day before I found this, he was telling me he wants to get married and have kids with me. We've been together for 4 years. So of course, there's the throwing him in the dumpster gif. Him texting her not throwing the note away tells you everything you need to know. Yeah, that's true. Everyone, of course, goes straight to dumping. Big Pan says, quotes, do I get a birthday present? No, bro. WTF. That one was wild. He didn't answer her. Girl, him, I have a girlfriend followed by disappointed face was enough. Leave him. As a guy, I wouldn't be doing any of this to my girlfriend. She's my world. I wouldn't be worried about hurting that girl's feeling. I think this goes to show how he's really feeling. I mean, I would be cautious at least. At the least, be cautious. But hasn't actually indicated that he's actually into her or that he plans on doing anything. He's still put her off. But I would be cautious. I would keep an eye on them until something did happen. Next, we have entitled people, and it says nobody should be swimming. In summer camp, and several times a week, they pile the kids into the bus to go swimming in a local pool. To be able to swim in the main pool, the kids have to take a swimming lesson. If they pass, they get to use the main pool plus the splash pad in the shallow pool area. If they don't, then they are restricted to the splash pad and shallow pool area. It seems like a normal thing. Kids all take the test, and a couple of them don't pass, so they're restricted. Everyone else is bouncing between all 3 of the areas. So far, for the most part, everyone's playing together on and off the entire time. Of course, entitled mom whose kid didn't pass the test starts telling all the parents at drop-off to know that they should tell their kids not to go to the main pool since her precious didn't pass a test. Ma'am, no. Just because your kid does not have a skill that my kid has does not mean my kid has to be punished. That's a punishment for my kid. It's a restriction for your kid. It's a punishment for mine. It's making their child feel sad that they can't be with their friends at the main pool. Maybe you should have gotten your kid swimming lessons. I don't know. Chef's kiss to the parents who replied, oh, you could teach them how to swim because you had the same complaint last year. Successful woman says, teach them how to swim because it could be a matter of life or death. Trivy says this, unless you want Darwin to do his thing, every child should be taught to swim. Basic survival tips if they fall over. They don't need to become Olympic gold medalists, but they should know how to not drown before somebody finds the rope. That's actually a good idea. Designated Throwaway says a lot of kids don't have access to bodies of water to learn to swim. Yes, this is especially a problem in very urban areas. We didn't have regular access to one or anyone to teach me. I still don't have regular access and I can't afford swim classes, so unfortunately I still don't know. Edited to add, I don't know why everyone thinks I'm excusing the entitlement of this mother saying parents shouldn't teach their kids to swim. That's a really weird thing to assume. My comment is in direct response to the idea that not teaching our kids is something shameworthy solely because some people literally cannot. If you believe you can teach your kids to swim without a body of water to teach them in, then more power to you. Someone said, when I was a kid, the local YMCA had free tadpole classes. And peace always an option. Answers, not anymore. We pay $150 a month for 4 35-minute classes for our 3-year-old at the Y, and it's not sustainable. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. $150 a month, once a week. How much is that? If it's more than $20 which it is. It's $37 an hour. No, it was 35 minutes. $18 an hour. I did that wrong. 37 times 2. I did that wrong. $74 an hour. $70 an hour that person is making. That's ridiculous. Should be no more than 30 probably. 8 classes for $90. Somebody else says they pay. $19.97. It was $20 for $30 lesson. There's like, it's adjusted for inflation. It seems right. So does not seem right. That's crazy. Right, my inflation calculator out. Let's say $20 in June 1997 would be $41 now, not $150. Not $150, so they shouldn't be charging more than $45. That's crazy. That's craziness. I cannot believe it. Murder by Words, entitled 3 Socialists Walk into a Bar. Larry Eldershaw says 3 socialists walk into a bar and say, bartender, drinks are on you. Hashtag socialism. Vizio answers, a conservative walks into a bar and all the women start covering their drinks. That is not how democratic socialism works, sir. Thomas Everett says the 3 are not socialists, but social democrats. Americans have been brainwashed to not see the differences. Not see the differences. Say it fast. Soya Milk says, also been brainwashed to hate something that if they really thought about it, actually support. They actually support. Always Answer says, the thinking part is tricky. It's true, some people cannot. Somebody says, I'm not going to say her name because I don't like it. Well, think about these 3 are actually bar customers. Frickin' Laserbeam says, I met AOC. AOC was literally a bartender. It's hilarious when they try to portray her or socialism generally, even though that I'd say she's not a real socialist, it's anti-worker. She's done more actual work than most GOP operatives. That's true. She worked real jobs. A lot of conservatives are from really rich families and never had a real job, like a bartender or working in a restaurant or working in a family business doing physical labor or stuff like that. Land Justice says a conservative walks into a bar and realizes there's no kids allowed in a bar, so they leave and go to Chuck E. Cheese. Next, we have Traumatizing Back and is entitled, Today a lady told me off for not seeing she needed help, so I took out my prosthetic eye. Oh my God. Is this my nephew? Did I tell you about that? I think I did. I think I did mention that my niece's fiance traumatized the 2-year-old by taking out his eye at the 4th of July picnic. I was waiting to pick up a prescription today when I heard some shuffling beside me. For context, I'm blind on my left side, lost vision in my left eye from glaucoma, eventually had the eye removed. So unless something is directly in front of my line of sight, I generally might not see it. When I finally turned around, I saw an older lady struggling to pick up something, so I offered to help her. She snapped at me and said not to bother, because if I actually wanted to help, I would have been more proactive. Ma'am, he's offering to help you now. He obviously just noticed you. What a jerk. I told her I was sorry, but I'm legally blind and would have helped sooner if I'd seen her. Then she hit me. People nowadays want to self-diagnose everything to avoid responsibility. Nobody's self-diagnosing themselves as legally blind. So I took out my prosthetic eye and held it up to her. Says, see, you can diagnose it yourself if you're so uncertain. Not a word from her after that. I wouldn't have helped her either. I would have left. Chinchillazilla says, a kid I went to school with had an ocular cancer as a toddler and had a prosthetic eye. One recess when we were 9 or 10, someone managed to kick a ball into the back of this kid's head just wrong. He clapped his hand over his eye and went to the bathroom. But we had this really nasty substitute teacher which wouldn't let him inside. He said he had to wait 15 minutes for recess to end. The kid said, but my eye fell out and handed with the eye. She screamed and another teacher had to calm her down. It was absolute anarchy the rest of the day. She completely lost control of the rest of us by A, not letting him into the bathroom, and B, showing weakness. I don't think she ever came back. I love it. Good on that kid. Good. That's exactly what should have happened. Some people should not be teachers. That's one of them. Green Abukati answers, I love this. I went to school with a kid who could dislocate multiple joints at will. He traumatized and then ran off, a bad substitute, by having someone shove his back into the lockers and then melting. She flipped up screaming because he looked very much like looked fully broken. But when other teachers got there, everything was fine. And the students basically gaslit her, saying nothing had happened. I'm sure it hurt, but it was a favor initiation game with them. The things kids won't do to traumatize people. If you can do it, that's all I gotta say. If you show weakness in a moment like that, you should not be a teacher. I'm just saying. Next is from What Should I Do? And is entitled, My Friend Needs Help to Open Her Eyes. So there's a picture of a $15 like wedding-ish looking ring. Cubic zirconia. I should buy one of those. They're only for $16. Actually, that one's 13. I should buy one because I don't want my wedding ring. My friend is a 23-year-old female dating a 29-year-old male. They have been together for a few years. His living situation is that he lives with his grandpa, dad, brother, and sister. Her living situation with her parents. They plan on getting their own place together at some point. However, every time they get close to securing an apartment, he does something to screw it up, preventing them from getting it. Now he's planning on proposing to her. He told me he is going to ask her in front of his mother while they are all out to dinner. She told me that she wants it to be private at the beach. Last Friday, he bought her a ring. From his paycheck, he spent $400 on 3 ounces of weed. He spent $16 on a bridal set at Walmart that will turn her finger green. I'm not saying the guy has to spend thousands of dollars on a ring, but It shouldn't just be common knowledge that you at least have to buy something that won't turn her finger green. Even though thought suggestions or advice would be greatly appreciated. Edit based on comments. She does not smoke pot. She does not like how much he smokes. I don't know how much he spends on weed because they both have told. I know how much he spends on weed because they both told me. I know how much he spent on the ring because he sent a picture I posted here. So he spent $13, not $16. Did you notice that? I spent 2 hours on the phone with her last night where she was crying because they don't have a place of their own yet. She was upset that he was broke Saturday after getting paid on Friday. She was upset that all he wants to do is get high with his dad. Maybe they shouldn't be together, for sure. Hi. Hi, Lauren. How are you? It doesn't notify me when you come on. Olad says you can't fix or save your friend for their own stupid decisions. Lauren says she's good. Duroway says can't save her. She won't want to be saved. Yeah, if she's into this guy, it's not gonna be good. Schnitzel Raider says make sure that these two goofballs don't have kids. Yeah, that's the big problem. Okay, Orny says they're gonna have like 50 kids. And the next one says because condoms are expensive. Yeah, they cost money. So does birth control. Fit Celery says I spent more on a crappy Subway sandwich at Mia than this guy. That's MIA. What's MIA? Other than missing in action. Then this guy did on his girlfriend's engagement ring. Yeah, I spend more at McDonald's sometimes than that. That's terrible. Can't believe you bought an engagement ring or a wedding set at Walmart. Good gravy. I mean, I'm all for not going for the super expensive wedding rings because it's kind of ridiculous, but Walmart, seriously, come on. At least go to Kohl's. At least go to Kohl's. Next, we have malicious compliance and is entitled Emergency Clothing Cannot Be Put Through Expenses. For a while back, I was working away from home and I just got home on the weekends. During this time, I was staying at a hotel. I always packed just enough for the week. I got a call saying that you need to work the weekend too, which would mean 2 weeks solid and only 1 work's week of clothes. I told my boss I needed some new underwear and socks as I ran out and made do with other clothes as is. I was told no, expenses won't cover that. Cue malicious compliance. I put an entire bag of clothes in the hotel laundry bag, $5 for every pair of socks, underwear, and $10 for every shirt, trouser. Put through the whole expenses. Cost them $120 when I would have only spent $20 on the underwear and socks. I mean, you got to do what you got to do in those situations. Tamerlane says that's how they nickel and dime themselves broke. Good story. Yardbird answers. Penny smart, dollar dumb. Yeah, it's insane. Third prefect, it's the second top rated comment. They say, oh, a colleague of mine would take every suit he owned to get it dry cleaned when he traveled for work. Never got pinged for, he was always spilling food on his clothes and needed them cleaned for meetings. Oh, Ariat says, reminds me of that old job where they refused to give me company credit card, but they'd give me hotel chargebacks. On work trips, instead of going to the local cafe for $10 coffee and muffin, I'd sit down to a $45 breakfast buffet in the hotel and just have coffee and a muffin. Wow. Well, you have more more self-control than I would, because I would have eaten. Next, we have Evil Buildings, and this is Lise Soho during construction in Beijing. And I don't know why this was actually deleted off of. It was removed by robots. It looks pretty cool. I don't know how evil it is. Is it evil because of the use, or is it evil because of the looks? Do you know? I don't know. Yeah, I had to go looking for it. Sinkhole de Mayo. Some of these Reddit names, I'm telling you. Insane Cyberpunk look from there. Yes, that's true. And this is how it looks now. Oh, it's pretty cool. That's how it looks now. So that's pretty neat. Hey, Lauren. Can you tell me? Oh, she's gone, I think. I think she's gone. I think she just stopped in. I want to know if you can see the arrow that she might come back. I don't know. Next, we have Emma the A-hole, and it is entitled Emma the A-hole, AITAH. Oh, sorry, this is AITAH. AITAH for refusing to help my husband clean for guests. Yes, probably. That drives me nuts. I run a home-based daycare for 12 hours a day. This requires a lot of cleaning all day long to keep the daycare part of the house clean, along with cooking and playing with children. Well, that's your job, and that's a choice you made. So by the end of the day, I'm exhausted and I have very little energy to clean upstairs, which is a private part of the house that only my family and our guests use. Because of that, I don't particularly enjoy having guests over because I have to rush to get everything clean upstairs. Two, whenever I have, other people work 12 hours a day and then they come home and they clean their house. Just saying. Whenever a friend or family member of mine is visiting, my husband dramatically complains that I'm doing too much and that I shouldn't be rushing to clean because they're just your friends and they don't care. He'll refuse to help because you're stressing yourself out for no reason. Well, my husband announced on Friday that he was having friends over Saturday morning. I said that I had a really stressful week and wasn't up to guests, and he insisted that it was his guest and not my problem. Suddenly, the private space isn't clean enough, and he started trying to assign me and our kids spaces to clean while he was waiting to switch the laundry, i.e., playing video games until the laundry was done. I refused. I told him, don't worry, your friends won't judge. I mean, that's fair. I took the kids and myself out for a movie. He said I was being petty and that I should have at least made the kids help like they helped me. My mother says I should have helped, and I probably embarrassed him because he was not able to get things clean on his own. I think he's a grown-ass man and he should figure it out. AITAH. You're both. Everybody sucks here. You for being too tired to clean after a hard day of work when that's what most people have to do. Your job is your choice. Quit your job if you need a cleaner house. And why aren't you cleaning for your family? Why are you only cleaning for guests? I mean, I do the same thing, but I don't use an excuse that I'm too tired. I'm just bad at housekeeping in general, and I acknowledge that. And I'm betting this is the chick from the first subreddit we did, where the house is immaculate. Storm in a Teacup says, waiting to switch the laundry is a new chore I haven't heard of. What a clever husband to be able to multitask by doing such an important job. Cat friend said, my husband was telling me he saw a joke about women doing their stereotypical household chores the way men grill. Like 4 women standing around watching the washing machine, asking their husbands to get them a beer. That's actually funny. Everyone's saying NTA. I think they both suck. Nordic Sex says, invites friends to family space without asking you. Refuses to acknowledge a pretty reasonable refusal to accept guests. Also, last minute was kind of a jerk on his move. Tells you it's not your problem, proceeds to be a problem. Proceeds to be a problem himself. NTA, if anything, is like a free life lesson for him. He should have paid you for that. Oh, no, not again. Said, and it did help. You got everyone out of the house so they can't mess anything up. Oops. Okay. Next, we have neighbors from hell and is entitled. She thinks it's her house. I have a neighbor. She lives behind me. When I first moved in, I was keeping my lawn at a nice, lush 5-inch height. She decided to help me one day by mowing my lawn while I was at work. No, you should not cut your lawn that short. That's not good for it. Come home to find she cut it right down to the soil. So I had dandelions instead of lawn. Then I got home that day. Found her on her knees with a pair of scissors, reaching under a fence and trying to cut the lawn in my backyard. I told her, I told we don't her help and don't cut our lawn anymore. There's a word missing from there. There's a couple of words missing from there for sure. Next, we spent a ton of money on labor installing a new beautiful fence around our back and side yard. The fence posts were all painted black, and my husband was very proud of his work. And soon discovered the neighbor has taken it up on herself to use her gas weed trimmer on the boulevard in front of our house and is chewing up our brand new fence posts. I go over to her house, politely thank her for helping us, but I remind her that we prefer to look after our lawn our own selves. She starts yelling in my face that everybody in the neighborhood hates me and that everyone hates my garden. This sounds like projection. I tell her that I'm not there to trade insults. I just want her to stay out of my space. I overhear her telling a new neighbor that I don't look after my yard. I see her at my place of work. She glares at me, generally bad vibes, but whatever. Last week, I returned home from a trip to find someone had left a bunch of broken shelving on the boulevard in front of my house. I think they're using boulevard for sidewalk. They probably don't live in the U.S. This happens sometimes in my town. The shelving is all about 6 feet high, and there are 3 pieces. They are upright and spread across the boulevard. I look at them to see how they are quite rotten and not in great shape, and I decide to pull them up all into a pile laying down, and then call the town to ask them to pick up and discard. I go back inside and suddenly hear the shelving moving around. I go back outside and see the shelves once again upright and spread across the boulevard. I start putting them back into a pile. The neighbor comes storming out of her house, screaming at me to leave the shelves the way she wants them. Keep in mind, this is in front of my house. I tell her no. I tell her to calm down and that I'm calling the town. She calls me pathetic bitch and screaming all the while. I continue to piling on the furniture. She screams all the way back to her house. I go back inside and hear both her and her husband screaming and yelling. I'm considering calling the police non-emergency line to file a complaint. I've been here for 6 years, so it's not the worst case scenario, but it's definitely unsettling and seems to be getting worse. To be clear, we have always left these people alone. We work hard and our garden is well cared for. Hissy Fit says if she damaged your fence with her string trimmer, she should pay for repair or replacement of those sections. Yeah. Positive Quantity answers. I lack faith that a person that would ever repay anything would try and protect the exposed sections of the post with steel or C-shaped brackets. Check Home Depot in the fencing section. I think they may have something for this. Kippy says on black painted fence posts, copper post protectors would look so good. That would look nice, yeah. Tell them I said hi, quotes. Came home to find she cut it right down to the side and soon had dandelions instead of lawn. They say you should have involved the police then. She destroyed your lawn. Yeah, no kidding. Public Willow says have her trespass and get cameras for sure. Bob's Glitch says as someone with a PPO against a neighbor like this, I can tell you, cameras will not help. Law will not help. Although if you can get PPO every time she speaks to you, file a motion to show cause or simply make civil court issue and sue. If you are in the States, the court will afford the attorney to them. They must pay out of pocket or represent themselves / bad idea. People all the time represent themselves in court. I see it. I watch learning about legal stuff and other similar YouTube channels all the time. And small things like this, most of the time people are representing themselves. It's not unusual. And it's not always bad. My grandfather did it once and won a case against a lawyer. So do this each and every time is applicable. These people do not have the earning potential of new homeowners and will rapidly go into debt trying to cover fees. Drain or wallet, the U.S. civil court system is not designed with someone with a fixed income in mind. Also, it's kind of hard to get a PPO. Everybody says get a PPO. Emergency PPOs are easy to get, but ones that last a year or more are harder to get. And even if the person goes to jail, you still have to worry about when they get out. Next, we have benign existence. It is entitled, A Magical Creature from My Childhood Turned Out to Be Real. What? When I was around 10 years old, my brother around 7, a friend of my parents offered to take us to a popular state park with his kid. We didn't know them that well, and although he was nice enough, we didn't know his kid at all. State park has a big lake, with the idea is to basically hang out on the beach and swim all day. My little bro and I were pretty independent and adventurous, though. So after a while, we decided to go hiking. I assume we told the guy we were going, but I honestly don't remember. It was in the 90s, and people didn't care as much when kids went off on their own. The lake has big bluffs around it, so we were hiking in the woods above the lake. It was a beautiful day, and the sun was shining through the trees that dappled sort of way. As we walked along, we noticed there was little white fluffy things floating in the sunlight, almost like dandelion seeds, but not quite. I caught one against my hand and realized it was a bug. A tiny, fluffy, feathery white bug, so they seemed absolutely magical floating on the sunbeams. I have never seen anything like that. I've never seen anything before, so as kids do, we gave them a name. We called them dove bugs. I grew up, I never saw anything like dove bugs again, and I started to wonder if I had imagined them. Turned some plant bugs into magical bugs or something as kids do. Fast forward 15 years or so after moving around a bunch, my husband and I bought a house in the town a couple of miles above the state park. We were hanging out on our back deck one summer evening, and I saw a little white feathery fluff gull floating by. I ran over and caught it against my hand. Sure enough, it had legs and was crawling up my hand. Dove bugs were real. So thanks to the magic of the internet, I found, in fact, they are called woolly aphids. Apparently, they can be somewhat invasive in areas, but it doesn't seem like that around here. However, I still call them dove bugs. Every time I see one float in my backyard, it's still magical. That's nice. I'm not even reading the comments. That's good on its own. Next is Found Satan, entitled What? And they blocked out the names again, except for Pat. Oops, you've just been killed by someone. What is the most creative way to hide the body? Somebody answers, ever since I was a kid, I always thought that if I had to hide a body, I would be smart enough to keep it somewhere temporary and then leave an anonymous tip to the police about it being buried in a certain place. They will then dig up that place, realize it's not there, and move on. Then I'd bury the body in that place. The freshly dug soil won't be suspicious, and the police wouldn't look there because they already have. That is not the worst idea. It scares me. Pat says it scares me that this dude started his dead body hiding scheme with it ever since I was a kid. Abeyda says, I'm going to remember the strategy just in case. Jankster says there's also it's the second top rated comment. They say there's also that joke about a dude who didn't want to dig his garden plot. So he left an anonymous tape for the police who came to dig it up while they searched for a body. I don't know anymore, to be honest. Says, as horrible as this is, making the police dig a hole for you is funny. Not going to lie. Maybe someone could use it to dig a well or something more useful. I don't think that's how that works. You're not going to get that deep from the cops because nobody's going to dig bury a body in an emergency like that. Next we have Just No Mill, is entitled My Daughter Packed a Bag to go to her real house. My daughter is 4. My mother-in-law picks her up on Saturdays because my husband works and I have a standing appointment in the morning. This has been the arrangement for like 8 months and it was fine, or so I thought. Excuse me. Last Tuesday, I'm putting her to bed and she's stuffing clothes into her little backpack. I'm like, what is she doing? She goes, I need to go to my real house. I thought she was playing pretend or something, so I kind of laughed and said, this is your real house, silly. She got genuinely upset and said, no, Grandma says when Mommy and Daddy don't live together anymore, she gets to go live at grandma's house, and that's her real home. Wow. Okay. Red flag for grandma. Red flag. No, not ever. Not ever, ever. I just stood there. I don't even know what to tell her, so I just hugged her and got her into bed and went downstairs and called my husband. He left work early and both sat with her the next morning before preschool. She repeated everything almost word for word. She said Grandma told her that sometimes mommies and daddies stop loving each other, and when that happens, she gets to come and stay with Grandma forever. No, that's not how that works. She also told her she could bring her cat, which is honestly the detail that gets me because why is she making it sound like a fun trip to a 4-year-old? My husband called his mom that afternoon. She denied all of it at first, and then when he kept pressing, she switched to, well, I was just preparing her in case something happens. In case what happens? We're not getting divorced. We're not even going through anything like that at all. I don't like how this person goes punctuation at all. There are random periods everywhere. I genuinely don't know where she got this idea from. I also don't capitalize at the beginning of sentences. Husband told her she's done watching our daughter on Saturdays, no discussion. She immediately called her sister, who called me asking why I'm punishing mother-in-law, and kept keeping her grandbaby from her. Well, sister, maybe you should go through some stuff. I didn't get into it with sister-in-law because honestly, she probably got mother-in-law's version of things, which I'm sure was widely different than what actually happened. I just told her she should ask her mom why she told 4-year-olds about parents' marriage and hung up. It's been about a week, and Mill has texted my husband probably 30 times. She keeps going back and forth between apologizing and saying we're overreacting. I blocked her number. My husband hasn't blocked her yet, but he's not responding. I'm mostly past the anger part now, but what I can't figure out is what to tell my daughter. She keeps asking when she's going to grandma's house, and she doesn't understand what happened. She just knows she used to go every Saturday, and now she doesn't. Anyone deal with something like this? How do you even talk to a 4-year-old without bad mouthing grandma to her face? You don't have to badmouth the grandma. You just have to tell her things change. Schedules change. The schedule changes, now you're not going there anymore. Classic Delivery says that woman would never be alone with my child ever again, and I mean ever. Yeah, no kidding. Swoozy is the second top rated comment. They say, tell your daughter grandma was very, very naughty and is a long time out. That even grown-ups have to follow the rules and grandma did not. Truth, but age appropriate. Mill was emotionally grooming your daughter to not live with you. Exactly. She convinced your child that her real home was with Mill and not you. I would not keep that secret from anyone. Top Strawberries, a third top rated comment, says, I applaud your decision and your interest in a sensitive way to communicate. I favor explaining the result, but not the cause. Grandma is in timeout. She did something Daddy and I don't agree with. No details like she confused you or she lied to you. Not at 4. I would just be honest. Things change. It's okay. Schedule changed. She doesn't have to know anything about grandma. Just tell her the schedule changed. That way, grandma's not even in the conversation. Next is retail help, because she's going to ask questions if you say she's in timeout. She's going to say why. She's 4. She's not stupid. Next, we have retail help, and the entitled interview candidate got upset because we made her wait. A candidate for one of our open jobs came early for her interview. Was supposed to be at 11. She came in at 10. Our admin told her she was early and will let us know that she's here. We opened at 10, so we had things to do to open the store, check with colleagues, etc. She got really upset and agitated that we made her wait and kept asking if a manager was on their way. She said the interview is going to be at 11 and not sooner. And it's her own fault for showing up early. If she showed up early and sat there nicely and everything, that's fine. But showing up and making herself a problem, not fine. When the time finally came for the interview, she was heated and went off on the admin and the manager who was going to conduct the interview. She complained that it was outrageous that we could not readjust to accommodate her being early for her interview, and that it showed us lacking our abilities to respect people's time and that we mistreated her on purpose. Ma'am, who's the one that was not at the time of the interview? Who was there early? Not the admin. The manager told her that she needed to fix her attitude and take it down several notches, and then probably told her the interview would not be happening and that she can leave now. Well, that was the proper response. They said that coming in an hour early doesn't win you any bonus points. The candidate was outraged because she thinks we had no intention of actually interviewing her and made her wait on purpose as a power move. The manager said they weren't engaging with her further and that she needed to get out. She stormed out and left crying. She informed several of our sales colleagues on the way out about what our manager just did to her. The colleagues were laughing at her. Oh, yeah, I mean, what else are you going to do? The askew one says, well, the interview happened in a way. The interview did not go well for the interviewee. Left Star said she didn't make her wait. She mismanaged her calculator calendar and lacked patience. When I've interviewed, I tend to arrive early. This way I don't waste anyone's time and have time to observe the location. I wouldn't expect to start early. If traffic is unusually favorable, I arrive very early. I'll either prepare in my car or in the nearest place that offers coffee. Yes. H. Potter says, seconded. It's also a golden opportunity to make a good impression on the admin. That can make a lot of difference. Yeah, exactly. I'm usually early, but I sit there patiently and wait. Oh my. This is from Infuriating, and it is entitled, oops, why did I do that? Hold on. Hold up. Lynn County officer appears intoxicated while conducting a stop. Keep that in mind. Oh, I guess it could have looked there.
Look at him. Look at him.
Oh,
look at him.
So
high as fuck.
How is it?
High as fuck in the job.
You could be having a medical
Okay,
emergency, to be
deal with
fair.
shit.
No, like I told you, coming off a double and you got on a bad back.
That's
So
right.
relax.
Yep. Call your sergeant right now. Call your sergeant. Call your sergeant.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
Call your sergeant.
you do need to
I
call
want your
Boston.
sergeant here. I have my rights to call a sergeant here.
We're
So
gonna
call
call.
your sergeant right now.
All right, we're gonna cover
Call your sergeant. What's your name?
Officer Mason.
What's
Hey,
your
real
name?
quick, Officer
What's your name?
They are.
Protecting him. What's your name?
What's my name?
Yes.
Officer Sapinski.
And what's your name? Probably don't even know. Can't even speak. Nope.
Yeah, there's definitely something wrong with him. But
Look at him.
No,
Gonna lose your job, motherfucker. Gonna lose your job. Gonna lose your job, motherfucker. Look at him. Look at him. Gonna lose his job.
that could be a medical emergency. That's not necessarily being drunk.
Coming to the job. Trying to correct.
I mean, he might be,
Yep.
but he
Look at him.
may not.
Call your sergeant. Call your sergeant. Yeah. Trying to protect his boyfriend. I would be ashamed of having him as a partner too. I would. Fucking disgrace. Disgrace, bro. This guy. Look at this guy.
I wonder what was going on, because I don't know. I'm not convinced he was drunk. Ryota Hayami says he's going to lose his job. Paid vacation, probably more like it. Motion Drive says a cop from a police department near me was found passed out drunk behind the wheel of his cruiser on duty. Passed out at a turn lane and was just sitting there. Wow. Responding cops commented on the smell of alcohol. No blood test or breathalyzer was taken, of course, and he faced no consequences. MFR was promoted several months later, too. Violet Sumayer says failing upward so that he's less of a liability behind a desk. Well, less of a liability for the department's look. Yeah, that's true. Finally, Ice says a lot of people defending the cop here saying the cop was having a medical episode. I didn't say it was having. I said he may be having. Maybe he was, but let's say if any of us were going through the same thing, would other cops treat us the way Jake treated him? Added so many comments. The people saying they would treat a citizen the same. Maybe they will and maybe they do. No, they wouldn't. I know a guy who was having a medical episode in my county, like recently, was pulled from his car. He was 78 years old or something like that. He was having a stroke, pulled from his car and laid out on the ground, and they were like beating him basically. But in this case, the priority should getting the cop away from his weapon and getting medical care he needs. Yes. To the people saying he's colleague, so obviously they treat him different. That's kind of the point. No, they shouldn't, as this person in state is a danger to himself and others around him. Also, if he had too many painkillers, isn't that equivalent to being impaired? Yes, it is. Aren't there rules surrounding that? Yes, there are. But I guess it's okay for cops to ignore rules while citizens are expected to be perfect. Edit 2. Thanks for the awards. My first one, they got 16 little golden poo awards. And the idea says hand on his gun for some reason. And Variant Speed says, yeah, he was strung out. He doesn't look like he was even fully cognizant of where he was. He doesn't. His buddy was quick to throw out bad back. That high looks very opiate-ish to me. Doubt it's a coincidence. Yeah, he was probably on painkillers. R/ took too much. Is that a real one? It is. It is. R/ took too much is a real thing. Hunting Merle says, for anyone curious, a viral video from September 2025 shows a Lynn department police officer in Massachusetts mistakenly referred to on social media as Lynn County, struggling to stand during a call for service leading to a public accusations of intoxication. The officer was placed on paid administrative leave, stating a review of body-worn camera footage and medical consultations indicated to a medical-related episode rather than the substance impairments. So they have no country says could be really really low blood sugar. My dad acts like this sometimes. He's not carrying a gun and protecting people though. So it was a medical issue. However, it didn't say it was diabetes. Why? So if you work with a type 1 diabetic and they were like this, you would immediately call AMTs or administer glucogen if they're brittle enough to carry a pen so they don't die. Yeah, but that's only if you know that that's what it is. Next is Emma the Jerk and is entitled AITJ for telling the previous owner of my house she can't come and pick fruit from my trees anymore. No. The trees belong to the house. It is no longer yours, ma'am. I bought my house last summer and there's a big plum tree in the backyard. A few weeks after moving in, the previous owner messaged me saying her late mother planted it and asked if she could collect some plums from when they were ready. I said sure because I understood the sentimental part. When she came over, she brought her husband 2 buckets and a ladder. They picked nearly every ripe plum. That's rude. Take 5. Take 5, including branches hanging over my patio, and left a bunch of broken twigs and fruit on the ground. I barely got any myself. Apparently, her family used those plums to make jam every year for almost 20 years. She contacted me again asking what weekend she can come this year. I told her I plan on keeping the fruit this time, since the tree is on my property and I actually want to make something with it. She got pretty upset and said she knew the tree had meaning to her family. She even offered me a few jars of jam, but that isn't really the point. I spent a lot of money from stake fixing up the yard. I don't want people treating it part of it still belongs to them. My sister thinks I should let her take 1 bucket because it's family tradition. It costs me nothing. I feel bad about the connection to her mom, but I also don't think buying a house means that old owners get yearly access to whatever they miss. AITJ. No, you're good. Similar Corner says NTJ. My goodness, if she had just picked a few off the tree, it would have been better. She picked them all. Your tree, your fruit. Yep. 1 ownership transfers. It transfers the ownership of everything. She could have taken enough to get a couple of jars of jam or whatever and left the rest for the owner because she's no longer the owner. Lint rolled for what says, yep, she shouldn't have robbed you last year and left a mess if she really wanted a long-term relationship with you and that tree. Party is over. Get a ring camera, though. Yeah. Gander Weather says, yeah, the fact that they cleaned the tree of all the fruit and left the birds for remains in the yard and broken twigs. They showed up with multiple buckets and it brought a ladder. That is so ballsy, entitled, and rude. Like 2 jars of jam is equal to the fruit of the entire mature tree you purchased along with an entire home and property. An actual letter must be sent mentioning liability and the ladder and the taking of all the fruit and leaving none for you, the actual owner of the tree. And now going forward, they are no longer welcome on the property or allowed to harvest the fruit from your plum tree. Date and sign for extra official looking touch. Get notarized at the bank and sign before a witness. I can't pronounce that name. It says but they say answer as a notary. I don't think I've ever witnessed a plum revocation letter, but they're the first time for everything. The Drunken Unicorn says, as an inactive lawyer, sadly did not practice tree law, an occasional jam maker myself, this characterization made me unreasonably happy. Second top rate comment is from Aromatic Recipe. That sounds appropriate for this. If you all hear from her again, tell her the truth, that you were shocked that they came and greedily picked virtually all the fruit last year. To top it off, they left a mess behind for you to clean up. Perhaps if they had shown a little class and consideration, you'd be more generous, but they blew it. Yeah, it's their own fault. Oh, no consequences. Keep going, guy. Answers agreed. Just to be honest about, they were disrespectful. They harvested the whole tree like it was theirs. How rude. Also, it's time for them to let the tree go. She had a year to get over it, and if she chose not to take cuttings, that's on her. Time to move on. I do miss my cherry tree in the front yard. We didn't get a lot out of it most of the time, but we didn't get raspberries this year at all. But yeah, maybe next year we'll have bumper crop. I can make a pie. I want to make a pie. I want to make a raspberry pie with my wild raspberries. Big Ear says, put it in writing, be polite for firm. Dear X, I want to clarify that I have not agreed to you having access to my property every year. Last year, I was not happy with the fact that you took almost every piece of fruit and not in the state you left my property after picking. In order to avoid further confusion, I do not give you permission to come on my property or harvest plums this year. Fairbaker says, drop the this year and use again instead. That way there's no wiggle room for them to try next year. Exactly. With that one. Expectation versus reality. Do you love it? Because I always love it. This is Queen of Cates in Adina, Maryland. What I found in line versus what I got. This is a funny cake. My cake says, this birthday cake, it says, you still look 20 from a distance in the dark. And that is cute. That's the inspiration. And it's very cute. It's just line drawing. Oh, that's cute. They rainbowed the frosting. It says you still look 20 from a distance in the dark, and they have the correct little line drawing guy with a balloon, and on the cake board it says "Happy Birthday, Ray." Yes, I know the proper words because I watch way too much TV revolving around food. I found the first image online and I really laughed so hard I wanted the cake for myself, but I needed more rainbow. Rainbow. Her name is Ray, Raenbow, Rainbow. Cute. Literally was just asking for a rainbow background and they delivered. It's an almond flavor with a raspberry filling. That sounds delicious. The cake was almost gone and it's huge. That's how much people liked it. Exceeded expectations. That's awesome. I love that. Lieutenant Star says, wow, this is gorgeous. What a fun idea. Second top rate comment is from Are You Sleeping Yet? It says, this looks fantastic. Fudge City said, they did our wedding cake Really good people to work with too. That's nice. I love cold coffee. Answers. I need to see a section pic. Oh, P said she didn't get one. Did she ever get one? Let's find out. Oh, BS Po. BSOP. She's hiding her stuff. Why are you hiding? Why are you hiding? Okay, we have it. It's not that spectacular, to be honest. Oops. I mean, that's just kind of meh. It's not even clean. But I would eat it. If you haven't already, please like, subscribe, turn on notifications, chat with me, or put a comment, post a comment, please. That's how the peoples are supposed to find you on here. Next is Zillow, is our real estate section, because it's not always Zillow while, but it usually is. This is, I have rushed so fast to post it, I got a splinter. Because I have no idea what's going on, but it's $150,000 in Buffalo, New York. It's interesting, I'll put it that way. Okay, I'm not sure. That's wild. It's a 4-bedroom, 1 bath, 1,190 square feet. That is too small of a house to have 4 bedrooms. Oh, I watched a YouTube video last night of a guy complaining that his tree house that he wants to live in is not big enough to get occupancy where he lives. Occupancy, 1,800 square feet for a house. Like, that's too much. Like, you don't need that much room for 2 people, even 3 people. I mean, my last house, my house is 1,800 square feet, and it's big. It's 3 bedrooms, just on the top floor, which is the one that counts as square footage. 2 baths, 3 baths, 3 bedrooms, living room, dining room, living room. I mean, in a great room, a big great room with the kitchen, the living area, and the dining area. And it's, I mean, that's comfortable. You don't need that much for, I mean, the only reason we're living here is because we had 3 kids living here with us. You don't need that big of a house. Not everybody needs that big of a house. We also have hobbies and stuff, so. While you're there, the floor needs to be redone really badly. And the curtains are an ugly color. Those curtains are, what is on the ceiling? Is that tools? That is so weird. So weird. Kitchen. This is an interesting setup over here. I think I like it, but it's interesting. I would think this is the half bath. It's little. It's a little house. Now, if you go in, there's a sunroom and a bedroom, right? Oh, okay. Living room and dining room. Then you have to go to the hall for bedroom and bathrooms between the bedroom and the kitchen. I don't think I would want a bedroom right next to the living room personally. Kitchen and then another bedroom, and then off the kitchen, back of the kitchen, there's 2 more rooms. They're just entitled rooms. They're decent sized rooms. 7.5 by 6.5, 16.5. That's a decent sized room. Maybe they're counting those as bedrooms. But you have to go through one to get to the other one. That's an old-fashioned house thing. What is going on the floor with this? It's weird. Doesn't even look like furniture. Could that have been furniture at some point? What? Why? It's so weird. And why are we staying in the same room? There's another room. Bedroom? I don't know. There's the kitchen. Kitchen does not include a refrigerator. Or is that the stove? It does not include a stove. There's another bathroom or half bath. Is that a bedroom? I'm assuming that's a bedroom. I'm assuming that's the closet. Are those like accordion doors, or how do you? I'm confused. How you close the doors? I'm assuming they're accordion. Has a nice shelving, at least. That is a lot of wood, I have to admit. That is a lot of wood. Okay, that's weird. Just a different floor. Oh, it's a different floor. There's 2 living rooms in this house, apparently. But only 1 kitchen. The upstairs bedrooms are kind of cramped. They have a lot of rooms in this house for only being 1,100 square feet. And, okay, I don't like that at all. That's creepy. That's super creepy. Why is all this decoration on the walls? Take it off. Your decoration is not my decoration. No, I don't like this house at all. I like the random sticks. Why are you sticking random sticks on the wall? It's so weird. That's semi-interesting, at least. And then there's also a basement and another 6x7 room and a storage room. That's 8x4. It has lots of rooms. Lots of rooms. Let's go back and see what else we can find. Built in 1920. There's no fireplace. Oh, this says it's 3,000. Why does this say it's 3,250 square feet and the listing says it's 1,190? I believe that one. It's probably 3,200 square feet plus, almost 3,300. Well, 3,250 square feet. Buffalo's one of Buffalo's most distinctive homes. Oh, this is in Buffalo, New York. Did we mention that? Probably. First floor features 2 bedrooms, a spacious living room, dining room, full bath, and inviting kitchen, and abundant storage upstairs. And they don't mention those 2 weird rooms off the back. Upstairs offers 2 additional bedrooms, if you can call them that, plus versatile storage space, bonus spaces that can be used for storage, a studio, hobby room, a home office, or other uses. It also has a basement. They didn't really show a picture of the basement, did they? Artist, woodworker, collector, simply summer for warmth, with warmth and personality. Well, it has personality, I'll give it that. And say it was a good personality. It was 4 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, 1 full bathroom. I sworn it had 2 bathrooms. I could have been wrong. All that space and only 1 bathroom, that's insane. There needs to be another bathroom at least. Even with 2 bathroom, I mean, we have 3, 2.5. 1's a 3/4. So the 3 1/4. We have 3 1/4 bathrooms. Property taxes are only $300. That's insanity. Annual tax amount is $1,500. That makes more sense. Why do they never agree on anything? Like their estimate for the mortgage payment is going to be way low because they only accounted for $300 in taxes, and it's $1,500. I hate it when they lie like that. It's not good. I have to show you this just because it's way too funny. This is cracking me up. It's a log. Where is that from? What is that from? That's so funny. It's big, it's heavy, it's big, it's heavy, it's wood, it's better than bad, it's good. Log from Blammo. Where's the lady with the log from Cheeks? My log does not judge. Oh, I can't deal. I cannot deal. Somebody put a gif of the beaver. And somebody answered, now allow me to introduce myself. One angry waiter says, I've always wanted to live in a kitschy humidor. Everyone said, this, but seriously, is my kind of weird. Master Gala says, same, I'd restain everything to be darker and make a witchy abode of my dreams. Beaver core. Oh, can't even. So I had to go looking for this one. Probably because it has a phone number in it. Just be warned. I didn't post it, so this is signs of the story. If you run into this house on Craigslist, you have been scammed. Contact the local police. I think that's just the local police number, which is fine. You can do that. Their number is public record. But yeah, that's definitely got a story. All right, next is server life and is entitled. A regular customer of 8 years ordered the same thing every time. Today I found out why. I've worked in the same restaurant for almost 8 years and have this regular, let's call him Tuesday guy, because he comes in every Tuesday exactly at 7 p.m., sits at the same table by the window and orders the same thing every time. Caesar salads, medium steak medium well. Yes, I know. Says yes, I know. Because you don't order steak like that. It's nasty. 1 glass of red wine. Never talks. Tips exactly 20%, not a cent more or less. Polite but closed off. I mean, you can't complain about somebody tipping 20% ever. Today came in, his table was taken in a booking mix-up. While we were sorting it out, he actually opened up to me for the first time in 6 years while waiting at the bar. It turns out that table is where he proposed to his wife 15 years ago. She passed away 3 years ago, and he comes in every Tuesday because Tuesday is the day they first met at that restaurant before they were even married. He orders what she used to order, the Caesar, and what he used to order, the steak. He said he's not sad on purpose. It's just his way of spending an hour a week with her. Aw. Now I keep thinking about how many other weird regulars with their strange little habits are actually quietly holding on to their own private ritual we have no idea about. Take care of your quiet regulars. Sometimes their rituals are the only things keep them afloat. I have no issue with this guy doing this. Paula says the quiet regulars are the ones I get along with the most. They're kind of rare, though, so that's why I need to leave the industry. Sweet story. Thank you for sharing. Meal Team 60 answers, yes, give me a silent, predictable regular. I've had several that I could put their order in as soon as I saw them coming. Drinks to the table as soon as I got there. Get a thumbs up. Their food is good and refills check. Run the card, easy, chill. 15 to 30% tip, depending on which regular. Those are the tables that make me look back fondly now and again. Kind of cray says, I'm not crying, you're crying with a GIF. None Pixel Pizza Left Shark says, calling emergency services on myself for a welfare check-in for this one. I was checking to make sure I pronounced that correctly, and I did. Her top rated comment is from Obshead. OBXHEAD. Obshead. Probably made his day better telling the story. Maybe it just made him sad. I don't know. Why has he been coming in for 8 years though? That didn't make sense. His wife died 3 years ago. I'm confused now. Next is confession, entitled, I lied to my bartender for years and we never talked ever again. I'm French and I have been living in a big city in France for a few years, going into my barber, not bartender. Barber almost every month. Also, always hated small talks and talking about random stuff since childhood. I was always introverted and just came in the shop and wanted my haircut. First time I came to that barber, I didn't think I would come back again. So I pretended not to speak French and only be able to speak English to avoid all the small talk. A few years later, he still thinks I'm an American lost in France. He doesn't speak a single word of English. The only times we've interacted, I use Google Translate on my phone. It felt nice not having to talk, but I was always scared he would discover it somehow. Now I'm moving countries and he'll probably never know about this. Sorry, Mr. Barber, but thanks a lot for the nice haircuts. I don't know how to pronounce that. It says, at my salon, you can order your appointments online and check option for silent service. If you don't want to talk, I love it. If you're wondering, yes, I'm from the Nordics. Silent service would be nice, but I'm a talker. People talk to me more than I talk to them, though, to be honest. Typical Pay says, I told a really nice barber once, I'll get her a gift for my vacation to Tenerife. I completely forgot about it. Now I never visit this general area. It's been 3 years. Thunderbolt says, dude, just get a gift and go back. He might remember you. Anything like Hal Nibbler says, I think it's a her. And Gray Shoehorn says, a lot of things can happen in 3 years, including gender changes. Critical Camel says, in Denmark, someplace you can tick off no conversation when you book. I should mention that to Julia. Next is interesting AF. These cats were put in separate cages because they kept fighting. Oh my goodness. This is what happens when you keep fighting. Where did it go? I need to separate them. I mean, they separated them, but they need to separate them more. They're insane. What is wrong with you, cat? Cats are weird sometimes. Okay, cats are weird most of the time. Sanjar says, Wang you. No, Wang you. Maverick PT says, Wang you, Tony. That's funny because my cat's named Tony. Tappets Zimar says, and they still found a way to keep up the pace. James Walker says, the rivalry was so strong even a cage couldn't contain the drama. Nerling Hades says, kittens desperately trying to play while they wait in isolation to be purchased. Their food and water not right next to the litter boxes and no toys. Valentica says, no toys, nothing even soft to sleep on, no scratching post, border post, completely solitary. Literally, the only things to do are eat crap and mess with the kitten in the next cell to you. And you can hear and smell, but not see each other or reach. Yeah, that's true. They're just trying to play. They need something to do. They're bored as heck. They are bored AF. Next is Aim on the A-hole. It's entitled AITAH for telling my daughter She doesn't have the right to mourn or go to her ex-friend's funeral after what she did. What the heck did she do? New account since my daughter does know my other account. When my daughter was in school, she became friends with a girl named Kelly. They stayed close through college, and my daughter was even one of Kelly's bridesmaids. Turkeys! There's turkeys in the yard. Oh, there's baby turkeys. Cute little turkeys. They're half grown. They stayed close through college, and my daughter was even one of Kelly's bridesmaids when she got married. To explain where my daughter's behavior came from, my ex-husband cheated on me repeatedly, and our marriage ended horribly. My daughter doesn't speak to her father anymore, and she absolutely despises cheating. About 7 years ago, my daughter became convinced that Kelly was cheating on her husband. She started harassing Kelly online and essentially blew up her life. By the time my daughter found out that the man she had seen Kelly with was actually a relative, they were in a fancy restaurant together, it was too late. Kelly's marriage had already fallen apart, and because we lived in a very religious community, she was ostracized by many people. They had a huge falling out, of course, because that's what happens when you accuse people of doing something they're not doing. It basically came down to my daughter ruining Kelly's life. Kelly blocked her on everything and eventually moved away. Kelly hated my daughter after that, and so did her mother. Rightfully so. I still run into Kelly's mother occasionally. She had made her feelings about my daughter very clear. The issue was that Kelly recently passed away. My daughter found out through a Facebook post, and the funeral is this weekend, 2 states away. My daughter is planning to attend the funeral, and I told her that I thought it was a terrible idea. She said she needed to go, and I told her again she shouldn't. We got into an argument, and she said she had every right to mourn her friend and attend the funeral. I mean, let her go. It's not going to go well for her. I told her she really didn't have a right to mourn Kelly or go to the funeral because Kelly hated her after everything that happened, and because my daughter had destroyed her life. She hasn't spoken to me since, and I'm wondering if I should warn Kelly's family that my daughter might show up at the funeral, or that I might be in the wrong here. I say you should not argue with her. You should have warned her once and said, this was not going to go well for you if you attend this funeral. I advise you not to go. And then when she went anyway, she would find out why you advised her against it. Science's Slice says, NTA, but your entire community is in your daughter too. Opie says, to be honest, I'm not surprised. People do not like cheaters, even if we didn't live in a religious area. I have a feeling she still would have lost a lot of friends. Also, it didn't help that she didn't have the best reputation to begin with. While my daughter had so much better reputation with the community, this is an explanation on why the rumors spread so much and why people believe my daughter over Kelly. Gossip can be a real crappy thing. The religious people do not help it, though. Yeah, they never do. Travel is to live. To travel is to live, says. NTA, your daughter will be lucky if she's not forced to leave. Also, has she ever considered engaging in psychotherapy so she can discover why she's such a chaos agent? She does need therapy to deal with her issues. Shaky Gal says grief is a fickle thing, but NTA, she ruined someone's life. Your daughter can mourn if she chooses, but not at Kelly's funeral. There's a time and a place for that, and that ain't it. New principal says the fact that the daughter can't even recognize that the friendship boat has sailed, burning and capsized is unreal. To even think she has a right to be there is crazy. Yeah, generally, funerals are open to anybody that wants to attend. You can't really keep people away, but it won't go well for her. You should let her go. Learn to listen. Next is from I Don't Work Here Lady and is entitled Manager Called to Check If I Was Coming In for My Shift. I've never worked there, lady. When I was in my early 20s, I filled out a job application, our local Harris Teeter, and was later called for an interview. I got there, the manager, let's call her Christy, asked me to follow her to what I thought was going to be her office. Turns out it wasn't. It was the employee break room. Okay, a bit orthodox, but hey, maybe the office wasn't available for that moment, whatever reason. We sat at a huge table, and Christy started the interview, but between questions, employees from every department would come in and ask her questions or plop down on the chairs next to us and start casual, non-work related conversations with her or ask me who I was. It took me all of 5 minutes to realize that this Harris Teeter was chaos central as I pondered how much I actually wanted that paycheck. This huge-ass guy built like a fridge literally slams the door open and yells, from across the room. Yo, Christy! And still mid-interview. Christy yells out, yo, John! It says guy's name. John was the one I came up with. Big refrigerator guys are always named John, aren't they? And they have a brief yet loud, friendly exchange from opposite sides of the room. Yeah, I don't think I want that minimum wage paycheck this bad, Christy. Thank you for your time and see you never. A few days later, I was offered the job, but I politely declined and never signed a contract. Fast forward a few months. It was Thanksgiving morning, and I received a call from an unknown number. I pick up. Never do that. Don't pick up unknown numbers. Have we learned nothing? I pick it up, and the lady on the other end sounded mighty pissed and goes, hey, my name, are you going to come to work for your shift today? Confused, I asked who's calling. She replied, Harris. This is Harris Teeter's manager, Tracy. Same store, different manager. It all clicks into place. I chuckle. She huffs under avoidance on the other end of the line. And before she loses it and fires me on the spot from a job I never had, because how dare her, tell her, oh, I'd love to, Tracy, but I don't work there and I never have. And I hope she gets the unspoken, and believe me, I never will. Boy, did I dodge a bullet declining that job offer. Harris Teeter is a supermarket chain based on the U.S. East Coast, for reference. Dead Body says, same thing happened to my wife once. She interviewed, was never offered a job, and would have turned it down had she been. 3 weeks later, the phone rings while I'm home. Is wife there? Nope, she's at work. No, she isn't. We're waiting for her to show up for her first shift. Oh, yeah, you guys never offered her the job. She never accepted. I hope you get that solved. Click. Greg Gashead says, I was hired at McDonald's, received uniform, never had a scheduled shift for like 6 months. I'd already found a new job when they called me at a 4th of July party to tell me I had an hour to show up for my shift or I would be fired. Fire me from a job I never had. I laughed at them and told them I call every week for 2 months. I called every week for 2 months for my start date, and I was in another state after getting a much better job. I know they wanted to bully me into coming because too many workers called off as teenager, even as a teenager, LMAO. Affectionate Pipe says they were desperate as Wayne and went down the list calling everyone, and they even tried to trick you into thinking you had a shift, having no idea who you are. What chumps. That's so funny. Local jargon has a long story. Would you like to hear it? Because you're going to hear it. You ready? Once I got a seasonal customer service job at a 24-hour call center. You had to be available for all shifts to be hired. So after 2 weeks of basic training, the company and software, I got my schedule, and my first shift was 12 a.m. to 8 a.m. I wasn't thrilled, but I needed the money. That's actually the best shift, to be honest. So I show up at 12 a.m. and the manager basically said goodbye as he was getting ready to leave. I asked him where I should sit. He looked at me like I was crazy and said right here. It was his desk in a small office with a window. And he could tell I was confused, so he says, I'm the overnight supervisor. He left. I had no idea what was happening. People were coming to me with questions and asking me to take calls from irate customers. I had no idea how to handle anything. So when the hiring team got in at 9 a.m., I told them what happened. Then one of them tells me I did well on my test, so they made me overnight shift manager. No one told me, and I think I was too green for that role. I tried to stick with it, but I quit just after just a few days because it was so stressful. I was all alone, and no one was on the premises except me and the CRSs, customer service representatives. Also, I was hired as a server for a big restaurant, but every time I checked in, I wasn't on the schedule, so after a month, I stopped checking. One day, I get a call from them, and they just reamed me out for not being there. I was supposed to keep checking the schedule. I quit because I had another job by then. PM Worst says, I get into that aspect with my boomer mom often when she says, young people just don't want to work anymore. No, if people are going to accept work at a crappy restaurant, etc., we want consistent shifts that fit our class schedule, or so we can consistently work on our second pathetic pay job. Yeah, exactly. I remember quitting a job that literally thought they could strong arm me into working new shifts during class hours. My final semester in college. My supervisor was quite surprised when I didn't choose him. Also, using elderly employees who are forced back into work due to low retirement funds and their literal fear that if they stop moving, they'll drop dead are not great examples, Mom. People want to work, they just don't want to work for slave wages. And honestly, who can blame them? Cool Josie Cat says that is too funny. Last winter, I had several times where it was getting ready to snow. One time I stopped by my Harris Teeter job to grab obligatory milk and bread. Never figured out why these two things because I can't think of a lot of other things to buy. But I think it's a law you need milk and bread. I went to the checkout, and as soon as I got to the register, suddenly a group of employees gathered around me. Then a manager appeared and started walking with the group to a spot down from the cash registers. Another manager came along and says, "Oh, you too, honey." She grabbed my arm and dragged me over to the group. I was promptly scooted into the middle of a meeting about expected snow. The first manager was taking names of everyone who could help pick up folks and those who would need a ride. We rarely get snow up here. The other manager was taking notes. They actually asked me if I could make it for my shift. I was like, I don't know. I was just buying milk. Long story short, I think I work there now. Oh. Effort Automatic says, so this TV show Superstore is based on actual real life. Of course it is. Of course it is. Did you think they made up those things? Robert Difficulty says, oh, absolutely, yes. Yes, yes. Well, I have a story. So my friend was at a store. We're expecting a bad snowstorm. So she went to pick up milk and bread and whatever else she needed. She ran into the neighbor. The neighbor says, "Oh, I just stopped by for milk and bread." She was in the aisle to check out, and all she had was Jim Beam in her cart. She actually left. And she's talking to her. She actually left the line and went and got milk. She's not neighbors with them anymore. It's okay. Next is from Overheard and is entitled "Dad's Unavailable." I promise I didn't mean to post this much. It made me laugh. My girlfriend called her dad, but her brother answered instead, and this is what I heard. Brother, the person you called is currently pooping. Please leave a message on. Sounds like something my kids would do, especially my oldest. Girlfriend, Tom. Brother, if you're struggling financially, you need dad to send you money, press 1. Girlfriend, what are you doing with dad's phone? Yeah, if I answer the phone, when especially when my oldest one calls, he goes, that was not the person I was expecting. Brother, if you need dad to life coach your ass out of making bad decisions, press 2. Girlfriend, wang off, Tom. Brother, if you want me to change your caller ID on dad's phone to a father's failure or my personal fame at daddy's disappointment, please press 3. Girlfriend, you're hilarious. I'm dead. Now, can you please put an actual adult on the phone who's not fighting for their life trying to be funny? Where's mom? Brother, if you want dad to know about the stripper pole in your apartment, press 4. Girlfriend, it's not a winging stripper pole, jerk. Brother, if you want dad to know your Burning Man experience didn't actually put you in the hospital because of quote unquote food poisoning, press 5. Girlfriend, I'm going to press my winging foot down your throat if you don't put mom on. Brother, if you want me to start from the top, press 0. Alternatively, stay on the line to speak to a parent. Girlfriend, what the wing is wrong with you? Brother, what? Nothing. Mom, hello? Girlfriend, mom, hi. Debother said, love this. Brother is a legend. Squirrely says, oh no, you don't apologize to the U.S. for posting too much. You apologize for not having a dedicated subreddit yet. Beneficial Art says, exactly. LP should produce a podcast with his girlfriend just calls her family and friends. I would be one of the first subscribers. This is not safe for work. It doesn't say why. So it is from True Off My Chest. And it says, I'm a climate scientist and I can't take it anymore. I am a climate scientist and I cannot take it anymore. I'm cursed with knowledge and it sucks the will to live out of me. I finished my PhD 1 month before my 30th birthday and got diagnosed with ADHD 6 months after it. I'm old enough to know what I know, young enough to lament the loss of my own future, and have a brain that is overturned toward pattern recognition. The facts are that the climate is changing and is changing more aggressively. Our best efforts have not worked. We do not have the political will to make changes needed. We are out of time. Not almost, it's done. These things are to be hopeful for. There's a bright future somewhere, but it's on the other side of the human beings arbitrarily dying in their millions or more. Just biblical scale death. I go to work every day and slowly watch the smiles melt off the 20-year-old faces over the course of a semester. While I sit there and I can't honestly reassure them about the future when I'm wondering if it's worth procreating myself and it only increasingly time limited. I try to slow the wheels of the most powerful and profitable energy paradigm in the world history is not lucrative. I don't get paid all summer, so 1/4 of the year I can barely afford to smoke a joint so I can get out of bed. I can't even get a job at Home Depot. I think I'll unionize a store. I will. They think I'll unionize the store, and I will. Go work at Lowe's. The changes are so obvious and all-encompassing, yet confident people constantly laugh in your face or devalue your career or tell you that you should have done something different. The poor fools haven't seen what I've seen. I did this because I care. I did this because I love Earth and all the Earthlings. I did this for the children of people who don't believe me and when I don't have any of my own. It has turned me bitter. Only purpose for continued existence is the tantric release of saying, I told you so someday, increasingly soon. I wish so badly that the science was wrong. If I met a genie, I'd ask him to take CO2, absorb the same amount of heat as normal air, and maybe a Diet Coke. The perpetrators have the power. The victims defend the perpetrators because they're afraid of living a little less comfortably. I can't take it anymore. I'm a hostage on the only planet I know by 8 billion people with eyes and ears and skin who see videos of disasters getting closer and closer and closer. They can hear us screaming warnings, and they can feel it getting hotter. But they look at you and call you a fool. No amount of therapy can fix this. Until there is a therapist that can make it be not too hot for sweat to evaporate in the most populated place in Asia. I'll continue to eat therapists. I'm not going to give you the facts. I don't have it in me today. Read IPCC ARG6. I worked on it. It's fine. I have come to terms with the fact that my life will not end peacefully. I wasn't born at the right time for that. I watch old war movies and don't even pity them anymore. They had a future to fight for, clear steps to achieve it, and they earned their hard-won future. We won't even have the opportunity. The links everyone keeps asking for. Well, what emphasis do you claim? And he gives a report and a summary. How much time do I have? Doesn't answer, just answers with another link. Cool app that estimates your future climate based on a place with that climate now. Grain of salt, but gives you an idea. Okay, Mr. PhD Howard, here's why I know more than you. Why are you mad at the billionaires? If all hope is lost, why bother? That's a good point. Murloc says gold guns and getaway. You don't need the gold. You don't need the gold. Nobody's going to value gold in an apocalypse. It does nothing. It holds no value. Your value are things that you need. Food, shelter, water, stuff like that. I study sustainable design and it's just a crap show. I wonder why I'm even doing this. I started in 2020, all motivated and ready to save the world. I was proud, minimalist, and vegan. During the course of my lectures, I realized how vain we really are. Then I hit the point where I realized that my design school was just spewing out toxic positivity and has now started promoting AI. AI is going to kill us all. I'm just tired. While I'm still a vegan, I have given up on the rest. I reduce such small amounts of waste in comparison to the billionaires out there. It's ridiculous that I try to peel the paper off a glass jar. Watching the news is like watching a horror movie. New data centers here, heat wave fires there. So many humans and animals suffer due to the consequences of what we have started. I feel so GD lucky about it. Where I live on this planet, it's disgusting to know that while I get to have the privilege to eat and exist, others won't. It's horrible that we're destroying things that we have literally created for ourselves. Access to healthcare, the best technologies, food, water, housing. It will all be gone except for the richest of the rich who can live together in their little bunkers and cry about it. I wonder what the force says. Humanity will be fine. After mass migration and the billions that will die from conflict, famine, and drought, humanity will survive through technological advancement. I still didn't say it right. It's all the other species that I feel bad for. When all the other species are gone, what do you think you're going to eat, dude? Okay, I'll be fine. I've lived there before and live there again. I'll be fine. In-laws. My mother bought my engagement ring for herself. This happened years ago, so I'm not upset about it anymore. I just think it's really weird and thought you guys might enjoy this weird drama. So about 5 years ago, my husband and I, boyfriend at the time, were starting to talk about engagement very seriously. We were quite poor as husband was in between jobs for a short while. I was walking through JCPenney one day and just browsing and came across an absolute dream engagement ring, $20. I immediately sent a photo to my mother-in-law. We were pretty close at the time. She came over for dinner pretty often, would go shopping together, just hang out a lot. She offered to buy it for me and gift it to my husband to propose with me. OMG, how sweet. $20, dude. If she's going to buy you a wedding ring, you should ask for more. Just saying. She buys it and gives it to my husband in a secret. Like a month later, 3 months later, he pops the question. To my surprise, it was a completely different ring. I obviously said yes, and we're engaged for a year. Well, 3 months into our engagement, I go to a family dinner with my mother-in-law. Anyone want to guess what I see on her right hand? That's right. The engagement ring I sent her a picture of and gushed over. I still have no idea what it means, why she did that, or really anything. I told my husband about it shortly after we got married, and she said it was really weird, but it's best not to bring up these kinds of things with her. Yeah, I can imagine. She has a weird thing where she will be the best person ever unless you point out anything she's ever done wrong, and then she will treat you like you are evil. Obviously, after years of marriage, I've become her worst enemy, and I have lots of fun stories about that. But this one's definitely the least harmful, so I'll start here. The ring picture is the ring she bought me. It's a beautiful ring, and it has the same stone as the one I asked for. It's just not the one I asked for. I don't see any reason to show you the ring. It's not all that. And I can tread, but I'm here. I can't read, but I'm here. This is what happens when you don't have spaces in your name. Boy, mom finally boss. Rather than engagement ring, then wear white to a wedding. But in all seriousness, definitely weird. Comes across as malicious. I'd be careful with things you tell her, just in case I have a family like her and she snakes in high grass. OP says, you're so right. There have been red flags all along. I kept trying to let her in and regretted it each time. Next is from What Do I Do? And is entitled, I got $1,200 from a random person on Venmo with an update. Oh, of course you did. It's okay. You can't hide from me. I will track you down and find you and kill you like the dog you are. Was an old joke from college. She posts way too much. Oh, shoot. I still have my phone there. Can't find it. Found it finally. Okay, here we go. I received $1,200 payment from a stranger on Venmo, and immediately after I got 2 requests for $1,200 from the same person. They say it's for their wedding venue and that they accidentally sent it to the wrong person. It's safe for me to send it back to them, or could it potentially set me up for being hacked? I tried to contact Venmo and they have not been helpful. The person seems legit, and there's other transactions relating to a wedding on their profile too. Sounds sketch to me. That was right there when I first opened it. The stranger sent me $1,200 on accident, opened a dispute, and now I'm being liable for $33.88 after Venmo took $1,200 from my account, even though I only received $1,164 because that person sent me the payment as a business transaction. So not only did Venmo take a few dollars and I had sitting in my account, they're also forcing me to pay $33.88 that on something that was never even in my account for someone I don't even know. Meatballs for Eyes says, that's insane. I would be blowing them up on every contact form and phone number possible. They need to have some sort of safeguarding in place. If you didn't click accept funds, you should have zero financial liability here. Info Sponge says that what's sad about this type of situation nowadays is that it's all handled via email. I got scammed out of $3,000 and couldn't get customer service agent on the phone to save my life. I had to send my driver's license, social security, and social and verification documents via email to prove I was me. It took 3 weeks of back and forth to get my money back. Crazy how technology has gotten so much better, but it only helps a big business keep their costs down. Back in the day, I'd be on the phone to the fraud department and my money would be back the same day. Oh, if you use a credit card, that still applies. Meta stole my VR headset and sent me through 10 different people. They only actually sent me back a headset after enough social media attention. It's 10,000% on purpose. I'm not even slightly unsure about it. Yeah, probably. Next, I have entitled parents, and is entitled, no, I will not be your free teacher to your homeschool kid. So for context, my friend Amy, fake name 26, and I, also 26, know each other since high school. However, we grew apart over the years and haven't talked since 2020 until now. When we were 19, she had her daughter, now 8-ish, but I haven't seen her since she was 1. The dad of her child hasn't been present since she was born, but luckily Amy has really good and supportive family, plus works from home. Amy recently contacted me and we caught up on our lives. It turns out she's homeschooling her daughter because she doesn't trust the education system. Red flag number 1. I don't trust teachers to teach my child. But the girl is having some difficulties keeping up with other children their age. Shocker. In addition, the girl has some difficulty reading and has poor reading comprehension. This is according to what Amy told me. It turns out she only contacted me so I could help her daughter with her studies. I'm a historian, but according to her, that's the same as being a history teacher. Not really. And therefore, I can also teach what would be the equivalent of English in the US. And also wants me to do it for free since she no longer feels capable of teaching her daughter. If you don't feel capable of teaching your child, send your child to school. Hello? And I, as her friend, have to help her out. We haven't spoken in years, and now she shows up with this. In my country, children are homeschooled must pass annual exams to prove that they are learning at the appropriate pace for their age. I wish we had that here. And to validate their studies otherwise. I don't know what might happen, probably a fine and being forced to return to school. But that's not my problem, and I don't have the skills to help either. I'm not a teacher. I don't know how to teach such a young kid. That's what my friend doesn't want to understand. Please don't homeschool your teacher. Please don't homeschool if you don't have the resources and skills to do so. My husband and I both have advanced degrees, and neither one of us feel comfortable teaching our kids. This is a Dunning-Kruger thing. People with only high school educations or less seem to think that they know everything and can teach their kids at home. Meanwhile, people who have actual educations know what they don't know and know that they are in no way, shape, or form capable of teaching a child everything they need to know throughout school. So we send our kids to school like normal people. Colin says she doesn't trust the education system but is winging it up herself. She sounds special. I can see why you drifted apart. Luckily, not your problem. Opie says, yeah, she's always been like this. She has good intentions, but doesn't think about the details until it's too late, and it's never her fault, Bobby. Serial Semantics, the second top-rated comment, they say, she doesn't trust the education system, but failing to educate your child and yourself is why I don't trust the homeschooling system. Exactly. Linzava says, you to her, there's only one option for free education and you opted out of it. If she was in public school, this wouldn't be a problem. Also, teachers require special training and education to teach. Neither you or I process that in training. Enroll her in public school so they can catch her up before it's too late. I get that she's trash for reaching out because she wants something from you. But if you focus on shaming her into enrolling your child, you might change the kid's life for the better. That's true. Next is, am I the a-hole? AITA for changing the door locks after my wife changed them. Maybe. I, 30 male, have a beautiful wife who loves to serve others. We bought a home down the street from my family. I have a sweet sister, 17, who likes to crash at our house with her friends. My wife is normally pretty easygoing until recently. My friend's sisters have been leaving messes, so no wonder she changed the locks. Mostly tiles on the floor after using our pool. My wife got upset picking them up after them every day. I've asked my sister to make sure the house is clean after they leave, and it has been better. My wife complained that some of her perfume/clothes personal items have gone missing. Okay, now they're stealing. My sister says it's not her. Okay, it's not your sister, but it's your sister's friends are stealing from your wife. No wonder she changed locks. I don't blame her. They shouldn't be there without permission. I believe my sister. I just don't see her doing that. I told my wife, and we agreed to just replace them. Last week, my wife made a couple of pans of cinnamon rolls from scratch. One pan was for us. The second pan was for coworkers' family who is experiencing a tragedy. My wife left to go to the gym. I went to work, and my sister and her friends came by. The one pan wasn't even enough for her and her friends. They wanted the second pan of cinnamon rolls. My sister texted the wife asking if they could eat it, and she told them no. They ate them anyway. This is theft. You shouldn't have eaten the first one. You didn't have permission. My wife was upset and bought new locks. Good for her. When I came home, my wife handed me a new key and told me she didn't want anyone else to have a key to our house. Don't blame her. I tried to calm her down and tell her that I would just go replace the eaten cinnamon rolls with store-bought ones. Not the same. Not the same, dude. My wife decided this was her hill to die on and said, no, my sister lost the privilege to come in when we're not home. I agree. Stolen items wasn't good enough anymore. Replacing stolen items wasn't good enough anymore. Not if you're replacing them with an inferior product, sir. Those cinnamon rolls better cost you like $50 if you're replacing homemade cinnamon rolls. My wife called to ask if, my mom called and asked if my sister could use the pool as a back to school party. I was under the impression my mom would be there. I said yes. My mom was at work and our schedules clashed. The easiest solution was for me to change the locks back so they could come into the house. Did your wife agree to this? My mom didn't come with my sister. When my wife got home after the party, it was a mess. She sent me photos. She called me the a-hole for changing the locks without talking to her about it. Agreed. Keep in mind, she did too. Then told me I broke her trust. She wasn't safe in her own home because it keeps getting robbed. I refused to put an end to it. I did talk to my sister. That's not good enough because they keep doing it, sir. Then my wife let me know she was staying with a friend for a while. Am I the a-hole here? Yes, you are. I feel like I have tried to do right any wrongs that have happened. Not good enough. Between my wife and sister update. Sorry I haven't been able to reply the last couple of hours. I've been busy. I talked to my mom again and let her know that my sister's not allowed over without me. I asked my friend, wife, who is a maid, to come and deep clean our house. So if when my wife comes home, it's clean. Last thing, my mom asked me to help cover my sister's cheer. She's on track for a scholarship. I told my mom I would pay half if my wife's things were returned. If not, the money was going to replace the stolen items. Why is your mom not paying for your sister? It's not your kid. Also, my sister was invited to homecoming. She wanted me to buy a dress. What the heck? I told her no for not following our home rules, and the money I saved for the dress was going to pay for the maid. I did replace the locks again. I'm also planning a romantic dinner and will help make and clean up. I heard a lot about the cinnamon rolls. Someone on here gave me the idea to make them. I am for dessert. I would not. That would so rub that in. No, bad idea. I would be so pissed if you made me cinnamon rolls after you let your sister eat the cinnamon rolls I made for other people. No, that would just be insult. Insult on top of injury. Update, my sister and my mom left a few minutes ago. My sister had a bag of my wife's things, more than I thought was gone. Most of the items are in poor shape, so your sister was taking them. The big thing is she had my wife's grandmother's ring I thought was in the safe. I had no idea it was wrong. My sister said she found it on my wife's nightstand during the party. She forgot that she had it on when she left the home. The ring isn't valuable, it's just sentimental. I told my mom who the ring belonged to. My mom lost it. My sister's now grounded. Last update tonight. My wife is coming home. I'm staying at a friend's house. Until we can work out some of this out. I already stated I did put the locks back on that my wife bought. My family doesn't have that key. Early morning update. Why are there so many updates? My mom called my wife last night and asked what my sister can do to fix / replace the damaged items. My wife said have her meet me every morning at 5 a.m. I decided to tag along to see what my wife had planned, trying to support her in whatever punishment she decides to do. You know, the cinnamon rolls. My wife co-workers 4-year-old is in the final stage of cancer. Oh, that's horrible. My wife's plan is for my sister to help her prepare breakfast, get their kids up and ready for the day, start laundry, basic cleanup, and her coworker and his wife can spend as much time as they can with the sick child before work. My sister was silent the whole time calling back home. I can tell it really hit her that her life isn't hard, even being grounded. Last and final post, my wife has given me a second chance long to follow her list of rules. 1, For a while, no family at our home. 2, no family borrowing our things. 3, no one is allowed a key. 4, I help with the chores around the house, including cooking meals. Uh, and last, my wife is okay with me seeing my sister, but asks that we all go to counseling to understand why my sister is targeting her. My wife says all of this has been really hard and she doesn't want to cause more issues, but she just doesn't trust my sister and can't have her using our things. Yeah. Well, I wouldn't trust your sister either. Your sister's a freaking kleptomaniac. Somebody says, YTA, why don't you clean after your sister? Exactly. There's a comment removed from moderator, and TNG says, me too, Jesus. Your wife has a right not to be stolen from her own home. Your sister is disrespectful and entitled, and you are an a-hole for prioritizing your wife's right to literally not be a victim of crime in her own home. If you want to keep your wife, you better change the locks and refuse to give anyone a key. You're also an a-hole for thinking store-bought cinnamon rolls are a replacement for homemade. Yes, exactly. Sap answers this: homemade cinnamon rolls are so weighing time and labor intensive. You cannot replace them with likely stale store-bought nonsense. Temtem Rem says not only that, but 2 whole pans of homemade cinnamon rolls. I don't know what recipe OP's wife uses or how many it yields, but the recipe I use is 1 pan of 12 giant cinnamon rolls. Just the one batch takes me an entire afternoon and wipes me out. I can't imagine making 2 batches only to have both completely obliterated by hungry teenagers. Where's that post from the wife who made the pasta from scratch and it was ruined by someone when she was told by her husband that it wasn't a big deal? I think she made him spend the next day making it again just to make him understand why she was so upset. That's what OP needs here. Also, boundaries with his sister and basic respect for his wife in their house, of course. Next is best of Reddit updates, and it is not the one last. I was kind of expecting it to be the previous one, but it wasn't. AITA for the email I sent to a teacher about her. You have it to include everyone rule saying it was a dangerous lesson. That was originally Am I the A-hole? April 24th, 2022. My daughter is 12, and I'm trying to teach her ways of creating and respecting her boundaries that are age appropriate. Teaching her that it's okay to say no to things she feels uncomfortable with. There is a boy in her class that keeps bothering her and her female friends at recess. I've encouraged her to go to me or her teacher when this happens. My daughter told me a few days ago that in class, a teacher has asked the kids to form groups of about 4 or 5. She formed a group of 5 with some other girls, and the boy who had been giving her trouble at recess came over and said he was joining their group too. Another girl said they all have 5 and he should work with a group that only have 2 or 3 people. He said no because the teacher said about 4 or 5. My daughter then said that they didn't want to work with him and he should find another group. A few of the girls agreed with her, and he said, you can't exclude me like that. It's against class rules. And she said she didn't care. I heard about this from my daughter first, and the way she talked about it, she had been firm but not unkind. But then I got an email from her teacher saying she wanted to call. She said that there had been an incident at school where her daughter had excluded another student, and that wasn't allowed in her class, and she wanted me to have a talk with her about it. Her telling events was the same as my daughter's, and I felt proud of my daughter for her honesty. I sent her an email saying, Dear Mrs. Teacher, I'm sorry, but that is not a lesson I feel comfortable teaching my daughter. She is at an age where she is already having to deal with unwanted attention, and I'm making a point to teach her that she does not have to be around people who make her feel uncomfortable, and that a young lady is able to choose who to spend time with and who make her feel respected. I understand you are already aware that boy has been behaving in ways she feels uncomfortable with at recess from our prior conversations. I think it is a very dangerous lesson to teach a girl that she has to include and be kind to everyone, instead of teaching her to be aware when someone is not respecting her, no, and stepping out of the situation. I hope I don't have to explain in too much detail why I find this important. But to put it briefly, I was brought up with the include everyone mindset, no exceptions. It taught me to ignore my own comfort level, and as I became a young adult, became the victim of men, used my inability to say no to their advantage. It is a dangerous lesson, no longer appropriate at that age. Thank you, OP. She emailed me back asking for a meeting in person with the principal. I'm preparing for that, but I'm wondering if maybe my email was too harsh. AITA for my response to my daughter's teacher. No, not at all. That is entirely appropriate, especially since he does not seem to have boundaries. Verdict, not the a-hole. Relevant comments. OOP to a downvote comment why this is important. I feel like a better lesson for future life is that you are in a group where someone has done stuff to make you feel uncomfortable. It's okay not to want to work with them. It's okay to ask your boss to reassign you or the other person, or to report harassment to HR, or even if HR and management won't address the harassment, leave a job. Your safety is more important than professionalism. I feel like that's just life. There isn't a way out. This kind of attitude is dangerous because harassment doesn't have to be a part of life. There is always a way out. Harassment shouldn't be a part of life, ever, for anyone. I stayed at a job for way too long where my boss was harassing me, and I wish I had the lesson of that time. Your safety and dignity is worth more than whatever they're paying you. Find a new job ASAP. OOP to another deleted comment on what the bully has done. What has he done to make them feel uncomfortable? When my daughter and her female friends were having girl talk that they'd be embarrassed to have people over here, nothing embarrassing, just talking about kissing, which I guess is what passes as scandalous at that age. It does. He hid near them and listened for a while. Excuse me. He also chases a few girls around the playground, even though they don't want to play that way, and kept yelling at him to stop and leave them alone. Does he have friends? I'm not really sure. My daughter never said either way. She said she tries to keep away from him and not pay attention to what he's up to when she can help it, so I'm not sure she'd know. Considering there are a group of 5 girls and the teacher's calling out the daughter for being exclusive, I'm inclined to think, without more info, that this kid might be an outcast. Well, that's his problem. He should behave better. I kind of get snooty girl vibes from this, but I could be totally off the mark. My daughter isn't really that type. If anything, she struggles standing up for herself without feeling bad about it afterwards. I'm trying to teach her that it's not something to feel guilty about. Also, a serious question about you. What about my post gave the impression that my daughter was unreasonable or mean? It is a very concerning trend when I see that anytime a girl stands up for her boundaries, there's some voice going on. But did she go too far? Was she really justified? Seriously, I'm curious, can you reflect on what made you ask that and really consider how dangerous a message like that can be if you ask the same thing around young women in your life? QWERTY 2 says, unless you're a doormat, you already know you weren't the a-hole. Now be very firm that you want that boy as far as possible from your daughter. They said that's from, in this case, your daughter, and that you will personally sue the school and the teacher if something ever happens. OP says, as much as I try to teach my daughter about boundaries, it's still something I struggle with feeling guilty about sometimes. Hard to unlearn these wrong lessons, which is honestly why I want to teach her differently from a young age so she doesn't grow up with that baggage. Updated April 26, 2022. I reached out to the parents of the other 4 girls in the class who were involved, and we all coordinated to go speak to the school administration together. They had similar views, thinking it was inappropriate for the school to expect girls to work with someone who they're not comfortable with. I frustrated the teacher didn't know more to deal with the issues during recess that made the girls uncomfortable to start with. I ended up asking the school if we could reschedule the meeting to a time when all involved families could make it. And we ended up meeting this afternoon along with my husband and another couple, 2 mothers and a father, along with the teacher and principal. We all presented a united front asking for the following. The school does training for the teachers on trauma-informed teaching methods, that dangers of expecting young women to go against their best judgment of their own boundaries, to be nice instead of include everyone. The kids should be allowed to respectfully set boundaries and taught to respect each other's boundaries. The school addresses harassment in class or at recess and doesn't enable it to continue. When we went to talk, I think it went better than having all the parents join instead of if I'd gone alone. The teacher and principal apologized, and the principal agreed to look for resources on how to better navigate the balance between being inclusive and not forcing kids to including someone who is crossing the line with them. Thanks a lot for all the amazing advice in the comments. I cannot believe how much this blew up, and I'm grateful to everyone who replied with advice and support. And honestly, it was getting pretty emotional hearing about the lessons I'm trying to teach my daughter resonated with other women. whether they're moms too or have been through some of the same struggles I have. Fox Williams says, God, I wish I had OOP as a parent growing up. I had to literally punch boys in elementary school for touching and kissing me when I already said no. Elementary school, mind you. I was also told that I needed to let them down gently or needed to be nice to include people. Well, you got to let them down gently because otherwise they might punch you because they're not taught how to behave. Ophelia Ring Galaxy answers, I once got kicked off the school bus in 8th grade for a week because I slapped a boy who pawed my chest while insisting I'm a prostitute and just needed to name my price. Really winged up part is that the bus driver set it up. Gave us assigned seats, forcing me to sit between the window and that boy. I told the driver why I didn't want to sit with him and was given the choice to walk home if I didn't like it. I live miles outside of town limits and I don't have reliable parents. Dang. Sci-Fi Chicky said, I had a similar experience in 1987 when I was in 2nd grade. Assigned seats on the bus, driver put me with a 5th grade boy. He kept touching me in inappropriate places. I begged him to stop repeatedly. I told the bus driver and asked for a new seat, and she refused. I told my teacher, and she said she couldn't do anything about what happens on the bus. I told my mom about how I told the bus driver and my teacher, and no one would make him stop. My mom told me your dad taught you how to defend yourself the next time he touches you, punch him. Good mom. Green flags for this mom. Love it. So the next morning when he went to touch me again, I hauled back and punched his stomach as hard as my little arms could. Then wanting to make sure he got the message, I swung again and he was hunched over from the first punch. I ended up breaking his glasses. The school wanted to suspend me from the bus. My mom threw out the threat of a lawsuit for the driver and the school failing to protect me from sexual assault. Then she demanded the principal speak with my teacher and driver to confirm that they had both been informed about what was happening. I was not punished, but the boy ended up suspended from the bus for a year, and his family moved out of the system before the next school year. Why am I not surprised? I mean, I have my own story similar to this. Daniel Horace says, honestly, showing up with a bunch of other parents sharing the same complaints was such a boss move on OOP's part. I have no doubts that the principal and teacher were going to try and lecture OOP on being inclusive and letting her daughter become a bully, only to have the tables turned on them when the whole crowd turned up. A part of me legitimately wonders if the teacher and principal were older folks who think that quiet, obedient girls can also act as babysitters for the rowdier boys. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. Sweet Cinnabon said, oh, and this was a really good find. I love the conscious acknowledgement that the need to balance inclusiveness and not bullying with respectful boundaries. 12 is hard, really hard. Yeah, 12 is like the worst. Middle school is the worst. They're still kids, except that in ways they're not. Balance is a big improvement. I'm going to save some of that for later. Fan gifts. Oh, this made me smile. Fan gifts Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. A vintage wrestling magazine with his grandfather, Peter Maivia on the cover. The Rock seems like a decent guy, even though I think he's a little conservative. But he seems decent enough, I guess. So this is a nice thing to do.
Absolutely. I got you. Hi, guys. Wow, look at that, man. Wow. Let me see. You see these? Oh, my God. Wow. This was for me. This is oh my God. Yeah, my grandfather used to wrestle here, man, in London. This is crazy. Beautiful man in my view. Is the inspiration for Molly.
Yeah, exactly. And then actually for your mum.
For my mom.
I met your mum at Dallas WrestleMania.
Yeah.
We had a chat about your grandfather.
Wow.
And I told her about the magazines.
Yeah.
And she said she'd love to see them someday.
I'm going to carry these to her, and I'm going to give these to her. I'm going to make it very ceremonial.
That'd be brilliant.
This is going to mean so much to her. It means so much to me. What's your name? What's your name?
Stephen.
Stephen. Thank you, Stephen.
Oh, you're welcome.
Let me see your phone. Let's get a picture. Turn this around. There we go. All right, ready? It's a video, but I'm taking pictures. This ain't AI. This is me and Stephen. Just gave me this incredible gift. I'm really so moved by this. Thank you, brother. Wow. You're welcome.
Ask Steven to dinner. I would ask Steven to dinner. That was very sweet. Steven's a good guy. Steve, hey guys, check out this. This is Sif says, hey guys, check out this. Check this out. Rox took a video selfie with me. Video. This ain't I. This is me and Steve, buddies. That's exactly what I would say. AI would say. Nice try. Outside Drag says, listen, this was a cool story when he was giving them to The Rock, but it's so much better that this is for his mom. Yeah, 100%. So she can have that for his dad. Or of her dad. Still Experience says, I love the moment he was about to keep walking. Was like, whoa, what's that? All right, that's all I have for today. I hope you guys have a great week. Have a great week, because I will not be here until Tuesday after next. What is that? Let's find out when that is. On a calendar somewhere. Yeah. I will be back September 8th. Same bad time, same bad channel. September 8th, I will be back. That's just how the ball bounces. Now I gotta go text my. I gotta go to the store actually. I got a couple things I gotta pick up today, so I don't forget them later on this weekend. All right, have a lovely week. I love you all. Bye. Take care, everybody. You can always like Snapchat me. Bye. Love you all. Take care. Bye. Bye.